The ink is barely dry on the new sweeping tax bill, and Congress is already knee-deep in another fight, this time to avert a government shutdown this weekend. President Trump thinks Democrats are trying to force one to take attention away from the tax victory. House Democrats want a shutdown for the holidays in order to distract from the very popular just-passed tax cuts. House Republicans don't let this happen. Pass the CR today and keep our government open. Nancy Pelosi has urged her party to vote no unless Democratic priorities are addressed.
We have problems with this bill. We do see it as an opportunity for them to at least allow a vote, on Dreamers, which we think we would win. But hopefully we've made some progress in their thinking that as to the urgency of it.
The House just narrowly backed a short-term spending bill, a first step in averting a shutdown at midnight tomorrow. The Senate still must vote. So, Dana, do Democrats have any leverage here at all or not?
Not much. No, not with you have majorities where you have the Republicans able to pass it in the House. It was narrow. I think it's going to pass in the Senate. I don't think this is a great way to govern. We go through this quite often.
Every year.
Where you have a spending bill and then it's a game of chicken for who's going to be blamed for a government shutdown. I don't think that's going to happen. I think they're able to get it done. The big sticking point for the Democrats was the Dreamers issue.
Right.
They've already conceded that they're going to have to deal with that in the new year. And in fact, President Trump's deadline wasn't even until March, so they've got some time.
So he extended the deadline for the Dreamers, and they're going to put that into the immigration overhaul, I think.
That's what they hope.
Okay, so if they do shut it down, which they won't, but if they do, Brian, somehow, will it be the Democrat shutdown? Because almost always Republicans get blamed.
Yeah, because they're in the majority. I watched Nancy Pelosi say a pretty compelling argument saying we don't really have the power in either chamber nor the presidency. How could you possibly blame me? Which is true. If Republicans got on the same page, there would be no problem. However, we're looking to what? January 19th? That's where we're going to have an extension to. The longer you do that, you're just giving leadership the chance to tell everybody where they spend as opposed to membership. So why can't they get everything in order starting maybe before January 19th to start putting things through the committee process and deciding how we're going to spend rather than wait to the last minute and give it to Mitch McConnell and Paul Ryan.
And make them eat it.
Yeah, that's right. Kimberly, why can't the Democrats just let the tax cuts marinate and let Trump take a victory lap? Why do they have to go rain on his parade and do the shutdown? I mean, it's just so mean of them.
So mean, right? Mean-spirited in the time of Christmas giving. I don't know. It just doesn't make a lot of sense. No. It seems like they don't want to acknowledge that this was a victory. They're going to do what they can. It's sort of the politics involved here. It's political sport, back and forth, and so they're not going to let him have this. They don't want to. Why would they, right? Because they want to say that it's terrible, that this was something that's not good for the country, and so ultimately, though, Jesse, I would agree with you guys that I don't think that they're going to shut it down. Can you imagine? Let's just shut it down, over the holidays.
They'd have to stay to Christmas Eve.
Right. I don't think so. So let's just count on that not happening.
I think they're trying to divert attention from the fact that they said all of the corporate tax cuts were going to go to all these fat cat CEOs, and instead, a bunch of companies announced that they were going to give bonus checks to a lot of their employees. That doesn't really have anything to do with what the Democrats were telling us was going to happen.
What are you talking about? That's exactly what the Democrats said. That
the Democrats said that they were going to give money back to the workers? That's exactly the opposite of what they said.
Excuse me. I'll finish the point, and then you can start with the nonsense. But I'm just saying.
Well, that was true. That wasn't nonsense. That was true.
No, what you see, and you saw it today, is a ton of companies saying, oh, because of the tax cuts, which is going to enrich our shareholders and our executives, oh, yeah, here's a $1,000 bonus. To a lot of people, right?
Yeah, that's good.
Oh, so that's fine.
Okay, all right.
It's a result of the fact that these companies made out like bandits in this tax deal. So that's the fact.
So you're against people getting $1,000 bonuses?
No, I'm all for it.
All right, so it's a good thing.
Don't be foolish.
So it's a good thing.
Don't be foolish and don't mistake what's going on here. What you have here is that the very rich got richer, and they say, here's a little bit for you. Why don't you take this sucker?
$1,000 is not a little bit.
Let me just tell you something. This bill is terrifically unpopular, remains unpopular, and if it comes to a shutdown right now, the Democrats have the upper hand. Why do I say that? Because the Democrats have public opinion on their side. You have Republicans who say, let's pump up military spending. Let's pump up the deficit. And yet they don't ever say, here's new sources of revenue in order to balance a budget. So who's irresponsible?
Well, I agree with that.
Here?
There's no talk about cutting spending. Let's throw to this soundbite. This is Sarah Huckabee Sanders talking about what's going to be on the agenda for 2018.
We're working through some of the top priorities. I think you can expect welfare reform, infrastructure, immigration reform, all to be top of mind and something that certainly we'll be looking at and talking about a lot over the first part of next year.
So what do you think about those ingredients?
Well, I think that all makes sense. Your first year as president is the year that you can get the most done legislatively before you head into the midterms. And so with the three big things that the president can claim in the tax bill yesterday, including the health care individual mandate repeal and ANWR drilling, which is amazing for a Republican to get through, then where do you go from there? So I think that they're going to have some messaging problems on welfare reform. If they can communicate it in a way that says we are wanting to reform the system so that we can get people out of a poverty trap, and this is the way that we want to do that, that would be it's a good message. It's hard to do when the other side of it would be you just gave corporations and wealthy people all this money, and now you want to take benefits away from the poorest among us. How dare you? I mean, that's a tough messaging thing.
That's lethal.
But I don't know how they do it. On infrastructure, look, the Democrats really want it, but here's a problem. The tax bill was supposed to be what gave you the new revenue in order to fund the big new infrastructure plan. But because it got all screwed up and they basically had to pay for that on the individual side instead of the corporate side, now where are they going to get the money? They're even floating the idea of a gas tax. And if you want to hit every American where it hurts, it's a gas tax. So I think that's problematic for them. I just used a banned word. The last one on immigration reform, I think that is actually the most plausible and probably out of those three, the most important. And I think they could actually do that before March.
What do you think?
It's immigration. No doubt about it. They're already meeting right now in a bipartisan way on the Senate side on immigration reform, doing it massively. There's very little pushback, I understand, on chain immigration, and there's very little pushback on the lottery system.
Right.
So if you can give him border security, we'll give you DACA, and then maybe we're going to do something big. And for those Republicans who say, oh, my goodness, amnesty, Donald Trump will go, listen, I don't care. Go ahead, hit me with it. I'll be the bad guy. Paul Ryan, you could act frustrated. Mitch McConnell, throw up your hands. I'll take the slings and arrows. What you brought up is a very good point of not adding to the deficit. Welfare reform would be a bad message, even though it's necessary. All these entitlement reforms should be necessary. But to go, okay, now let's go into welfare for the poor people, even though you're reforming it to make it a better country, it would be not a good time. I think it would be insane to do that right now.
So, Kimberly, to Brian's point, DACA, amnesty, trade that off for the wall. Do you think that's effective for the president?
Well, look, you've got to be able to negotiate. You got to bring something to the table. You want them to go for this and to increase with, border security. They're not going to do it unless you give them something that's meaningful. That is the price of doing business, whether it's politics or whether it's just the financial industry, et cetera. So he understands that. I think that it's something he would be open to and reasonable about because of his heightened interest and desire to increase border security. Again, a really big banner item that he promised during the campaign. So he's going through his list. He's checking it twice. And he's going to find out which Democrats are naughty or nice. I just made that up.
I love it. I love it. Is there anything you like or think is nice about this agenda in 2018, Juan?
Yeah, immigration. I mean, I had a column in The Hill this week in which I said I think the immigration argument has shifted, especially after what we saw in Virginia, even Alabama, where those issues were front and center, and people were like, nah, that's not exactly going to push me over the line. The Republican candidates thought you could emulate Donald Trump's success with the issue. It's a little bit different now. But, I mean, to me, the thing here is I think that Paul Ryan really wants big entitlement reform, not just welfare reform. I'm talking about Social Security, Medicare, which are big slices of the federal budget.
Going to do it.
The president has said he won't do it, but guess what, Dana? I think that's what Ryan wants. I think that's what a lot of people in the Freedom Caucus want. They want to push that. And as you guys are saying, and I'm so pleased to hear you say it, it's insanity right now because most Americans see this as a giveaway to the rich, the tax deal. And if you come back with the budget and say, oh, yeah, we're going to pump up defense spending, and now we're going to smack down the elderly and the poor. And don't forget, they've yet to renew DACA. Not DACA, but the CHIP, the Children Health Insurance Plan. And even Republicans are saying, This is a problem, and by January 1st, no child insurance plan.
And that is not something that Sarah Sanders talked about today. I know it is on their mind, but we have got to talk about the opiate crisis. I mean, today, again, for the second year in a row, we have the CDC, Center for Disease Control, telling us that Americans' life expectancy is going the wrong way for the first time, and they point to opiate addiction as being the thing that is increasing the deaths, and it's increasing the deaths of young people, in particular young men.
Yep.
But that is something we just have got to figure out. I don't know what the answer is, but
I'll build on your point because I was just at the border, and most of the Border Patrol says, yeah, we got a problem with illegals, but we most have a problem with fentanyl.
Right.
And that's what's coming across the southern border, so it might be a complete circle. I will say this, Juan, I think it's an oversimplification and inaccuracy to say this whole thing is a tax break for the rich. It really isn't. Most of the people with money are complaining they're not getting their break that they thought they were going to get. And when you look at corporations, I actually want to quote Mitt Romney, it is people. And there's entry-level jobs in those places, and there's an opportunity to bring people back. And the movie industry, of all things, is going to benefit maybe the most. So I'm curious.
Will they write any good movies, though?
Well, I'm not sure if we'll go where we're going to see it.
So let me get this straight. Did you just say that the rich are saying they're not getting enough?
They get 2%.
Oh,
37 to 35.
Oh, my gosh.
The rich are people, too, Juan.
Yeah, the rich.
Not
I'm just
you're
one of those people.
You know, I just can't understand it.
Over here.
Ebenezer Scrooge, he's a human being. 80% of the benefit of this thing goes to the rich and the corporations, and you guys still want more.
Corporations are made up of people that are middle class
That's
and
a
working.
family.
They're not.
This is ridiculous.
Yes.
They're not.
They are.
Corporations are all rich people.
If it created jobs for those people, Brian, that'd be great. But this is not that. This is about rewarding shareholders and the CEOs who make huge money right now.
If they act irresponsibly, that would be the answer. But if they act responsibly, they will spread it out, grow the company, because they're never going to get it again.
Oh, so you're saying to me, trust the very rich. The rich will take
But you're
care
a corporation.
Has a poor person ever given you a job, Juan?
Yeah. Well, oh my God. That was a Trump. But it's really quick. What Brian's saying is a very important point. If you see corporates and you kind of demonize them, but the bottom line is that there are families, like individuals at all levels of corporations in support, working in staff, etc. So why do you want to begrudge them an opportunity to do something to provide for their families?
Wait a second. Do you
Some
think
kind of improvement and relief is better than none at all.
$1,000 means a lot.
But do you think that corporate profits in this country are at record levels? Yes, they are. How about the stock market? Record levels.
What's wrong with that? With a growing and prosperous economy?
Oh, give the rich more.
No, the argument is continue to improve on a situation that has been very fortuitous. Why not do it? And why not spread it around to the middle class, too, and to the lower class to be able to give them a chance?
Where's the forgotten
Spread it
working
around,
man?
like Obama said. Remember? Spread it around.